This is stuff you like. You can call me Ursa. It's All Hallows Eve, and I'm really sorry this episode turned out to be more about harsh truth than horror. Oh well. But as I previously mentioned, I really hate gore, and so I was really surprised to like Shaun of the Dead. That's probably because it's not really about the gore. It's kind of incidental. But Shaun is so much fun, and it has Simon Pegg, and it has Nick Frost, and it has this whole boatload of British actors, and it's kind of like Love Actually, but with, you know, less in the way of Hugh Grant and more in the way of shuffling and moaning. Wait. Also, it's a romantic comedy. And by romantic comedy, I kind of mean romantic comedy meets zombie apocalypse meets coming into your own story, which is kind of like a coming of age story, but one that doesn't occur in your teenage years. I may have just made that up. Still, the defining point of the film is that Shaun is a well-meaning twit at the beginning, and he has to go on a, journey of discovery to become a still well-meaning, less of a twit. He is a terrible friend, a mediocre employee, a terrible flatmate, and not a great boyfriend either. His job is going nowhere, he's got serious issues with his mother and his stepdad, and he doesn't listen. Ever. But instead of trying to improve any of these situations, he does nothing. Or he says he's going to do something, and then he doesn't. Shaun's job is an entry-level post staffed by mostly teenagers where he sells televisions to people.
Look, I know you don't want to be here forever. I've got things I want to do in my life.
When?
And yes, he wants to do something else with his life, but he doesn't know what, and so he hasn't really taken any action towards it. And that would be fine. I mean, work isn't the be-all and end-all. But his girlfriend Liz also wants to do something with her life.
Shaun, what I'm trying to say is, I need something a little more. More than spending every night in the Winchester. I want to get out there and do more interesting stuff. I want to live a little. And I want you to want to do it too.
And she's kind of sick of Shaun, being a terrible boyfriend. And so, after he lets her down, yet again, she dumps him. And this is the real tipping point for Shaun. The zombie apocalypse doesn't actually start to affect Shaun until about a third of the way through the film, but this is the moment where he says, no, I have to stand up and take responsibility and get things done. Best laid plans and all that, because after some foreshadowing...
We'll have a bloody merry first thing. Have a bite of the king's head, couple of the little princess. We'll stagger back here. Back at the bar for Shaun. How's that for a slice of fried gold?
The zombie apocalypse really kicks off.
It's not the end of the world.
Prior to this, it has mostly been terrible, terrible things happening in the background, which our hero has been too preoccupied or drunk to notice. Like I said, that's one of the reasons I like the film. It's not really about the gore and the horror, at least not until the last 30 minutes. It's about Shaun and the choices we make and becoming a better person.
Or does it make your life easier having someone around who's more of a loser than you are? Sort your life out, mate!
Shaun, oblivious to everything, has gone through most of his life, including the last few days especially, like a sleepwalker. You remember how last time I said, in the Newsflesh universe we're all zombies, we just aren't dead yet? That's also true of Shaun here. Until he gets dumped by Liz, which provides the catalyst to become a better person. But we all know that he's unreliable enough that he probably wouldn't have followed up on getting Liz back and sorting his life out anyway. Except then the zombie apocalypse happens, which is a harsh enough truth all by itself to suddenly make you see things more clearly. And what does Shaun see? That he wants to take care of the people he loves, and to do that, he needs to get them and keep them safe. And so that's what they do. They go get Barbara, which is Shaun's mum, and Philip, which is Shaun's stepdad, and spend the next half hour trying to get to the Winchester with a couple of people dying, and we develop Shaun's nascent leadership skills, including drawing off the zombies so that everyone else can get into the pub, and finally, having a discussion with Ed about the state of their relationship.
I spent an entire life, look at me, I've spent my entire life sticking my neck out for you, and all you ever do is things up and make me look stupid. Well, I'm not gonna let you do it anymore, not today!
Because if Shaun is a terrible friend, Ed is a worse one, and yeah, he could probably have picked a better time, but I'll take what I can get. The last 30 minutes pass by in a wash of gore, which I hate, but still there's Shaun taking charge and doing things and everything going to hell. The zombies follow Shaun back The jukebox gets turned on, they beat up zombies with pool cues to the strains of Queen, they try and shoot the zombies with a gun, which doesn't really work terribly well because, yeah, no. There's a lot of shouting, so much shouting, everybody shouts until Liz starts shouting and then everyone shuts up because, yeah, you've finally caused her to crack, so, well, yes. And Shaun's mum dies and becomes a zombie, and that's really sad, and then they have to shoot Shaun's mum, and then everybody dies, including Ed, who gets a sort of heroic sacrifice. Possibly not die, depending on whether you think DVD extras are canon or not. And Shaun and Liz. Shaun and Liz are basically the only ones who make it, having been rescued by Yvonne, and the army, and a hail of gunfire. And having been rescued in this fashion, Shaun and Liz live happily and more responsibly ever after, with Ed as a zombie, now chained in the garden shed playing computer games. Ed, of course, being, as well as a character, the representation of Shaun's more immature side, the side that would rather defer action and play computer games than actually do anything. He still exists, but he's no longer central to Shaun's life. The people on the sofa are the central characters in the Shaun of the Dead narrative at any point, and so Shaun and Ed at the beginning are the main characters, and Ed is, well, he's kind of dragging Shaun down a bit by not really doing anything and being a terrible flatmate and never tidying up. But by the end of the film, like I said, he is relegated to the shed, and Shaun and Liz, who is now the most important person in Shaun's life, sit on the sofa and, you know, do whatever. Symbolism! I think my favourite bits of the film are the parody moments and all of the stupid little moments, like when Shaun hits himself over the head with the pool cue, or Shaun's inspirational speech to the staff.
As Mr. Sloman always says, there's no I in team, but there is an I in pie. There's an I in meat pie. The anagram of meat is team. I don't know what he's talking about. Look, that's it.
And of course Ed's Dawn of the Dead reference.
We're coming to get you, Barbara!
Of course you are. And the alternative five-man band, as played by somewhat more famous British actors. Look, you guys, it's Martin Freeman. I really like the TV Tropes theory on this, that Yvonne is actually starring in the serious business high-budget version of this film, which is how she comes in to save Shaun and Liz at the end, with all of those extras and the army and bullets and a budget. But the reason I like the film as a whole, and not just as a series of clips, is Shaun is its take on the everyman. Because that's what Shaun is. He doesn't have any particularly special skills, but he finds out that in hot water he can be strong. Like a tea bag, our everymen have gotten a little more everyday in recent times. Especially in romantic comedies, actually. They are schmucks. And this idiot is you. They are people who by sheer luck or destiny or acquisition of property or whatever become heroes. And yeah, Shaun may be an everyman and occasionally a bit of a schmuck, but hey, at least he's likeable. And that's important. That said, I do probably prefer Hot Fuzz's Nicholas Angel to Shaun, because, well, emotionally stunted overachievers strike more of a chord with me than emotionally stunted underachievers. Who'd have thunk? Spooky. It's not really that spooky at all, is it? Never mind. Love you all, happy All Hallows, and I will see you next time.